You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
BATV is here to bring you the highlights from the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, where D.K. Duncan will be delivering the keynote address on political leadership, an enabler or disabler to Jamaica's economic growth. I'm Javon Keys and I'll be your host. Stay with us, much more after this.
The Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership, J.D. Seal, evolved out of a need for the University of Technology, Jamaica, as an academic institution to rise to the national challenge of addressing the endemic problem of unemployment by providing specific training to persons, particularly our youths, interested in starting their own businesses. It has been recognized the world over that developing the tools of entrepreneurship is one important way of promoting individuals to become their own sources of employment, given that established corporate entities are contracting in the economy. In other words, entrepreneurship is now a most invaluable tool in the arsenal of a country's strategy for national development. The government of Jamaica, through its 2030 vision document, highlights the importance of entrepreneurship in economic development. And the MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy document of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries states as follows, and I quote, "The MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy seeks to offer a comprehensive, targeted and coherent framework that will create a highly entrepreneurial sector that is characterized by innovative and competitive businesses that are supported by a rewarding institutional and regulatory environment. The achievement of the policy goals and objectives will therefore necessitate a partnership between key stakeholders within the public and private sectors and by associations representing the MSMEs." End of quote. In this regard then, the University of Technology, Jamaica, insightfully tagged the People's University, and I know DK would like that, is playing its part by being the first institution of its kind, offering a specialized degree in entrepreneurship, and also hosting under its umbrella a highly touted business incubator system. Under our business incubator called the Technology Innovation Center, the TIC, we have had clients winning numerous local and international awards, with two, Tyrone Wilson and Gordon Swaby, receiving the prestigious 50 Under 50 Award for Excellence in Youth Entrepreneurship by the Government of Jamaica in 2012. Then again, there's also Mrs. Valerie Grant, another client of the incubator here on the campus of UTech. She's Managing Director of Geotech Vision Enterprises, and she has also won several prizes, including the Commonwealth Woman Entrepreneur of the Year Award, the NCB National Builders Award in the category Women in Business, and the Business Excellence Forum of the Americas Award for Female Entrepreneur of the Year in 2015. And these are just some of the awards that have been given to clients of the incubator, which is part of the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership. In the latest report from the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, GEM, it was shown that 85% of working-age Jamaicans agreed with the statement that most people in the country consider starting a business as a desirable career choice. Entrepreneurship as a career path is highly recognized and applauded in this country. Indeed, much status is accorded to successful Jamaican entrepreneurs, as according to the same GEM report, 85% in the category 18 to 64 age group also supported the statement that in this country, successful entrepreneurs receive high status. Incidentally, this GEM report, which is an international research tool, is produced right here in J.D. Seal under the College of Business and Management by our lecturers, all done for the nation of Jamaica. It is therefore most fitting, ladies and gentlemen, that as I welcome you to this signal event, the Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, that I inform you of this important role being played by the school, which is fostering growth and entrepreneurial development in Jamaica. And it is also therefore with a deep sense of honor and humility that I have the distinct pleasure of bringing you greetings and welcoming you to this 5th lecture series.
This is the 5th annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, and it is in aid of recognizing the benefactor for the school, who is Joan Duncan, and it recognizes the contributions that persons have made in the field of entrepreneurship, as well as in the area of ethics and leadership, because that's the name of the school, Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership. So each year we decide to concentrate on different aspects of that subject. One year we'll do entrepreneurship, another year we will do ethics, and another year leadership. This year we're looking at the area of leadership, as I said, as part of the tripartite aspect of the school, and leadership in particular related to politics, so political leadership, and how that has affected the growth and development of our country. And of course we have the icon, Dr. D.K. Duncan, who is a stalwart in the area, who is going to dissect this subject. And of course we have a set of panelists, very qualified panelists, looking at various aspects of leadership. And that's going to be interesting. The Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership is the first of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean, offering a BSc degree in entrepreneurship. And that's an achievement in itself. In addition, the school and indeed the university is the first of its kind too to have as part and parcel of its portfolio an incubator, a business incubator. So you'll find in the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship the Technology Innovation Center, which is well known throughout Jamaica as one of the incubators, one of the first incubators in Jamaica. And so we have clients within the incubator who are there to network, to be mentored in terms of developing their businesses, and students interact with these live clients, these live entrepreneurs, and at the same time learn from them. And that in itself is a tremendous experience. So that is the basis in terms of the school. Each student, when they come to do the degree, unlike the other conventional students within the university, they have to come with a business idea. So the entire 4 years of development is surrounded a business idea that they may have, and then they look at the various aspects of developing that idea, including the business model, canvas, including looking at accounting for your business, finance, marketing, sales, and so on, all surrounding the business. So at the end of the period of when they're about to graduate, they should be ready to start a business.
They've asked me to talk on a question that people ask me every day, do politicians really believe polls, and are polls authentic? And I have a very easy answer to both of them, which I will share in the gathering. But yeah, I've been in polling for over 30 years, and I've survived political polling because politicians believe in what they hear. They don't always use it the way they should, and some of them fall awry as a result. But generally, I believe that politicians do place a lot of reliance on polls and actually use it for all kinds of strategies.
We go to a break. Stay with us. Much more after this.
Home is where all the sweetness, silliness, and beauty of life happens. Discover your style and express yourself with furniture from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Visit any of our 2 locations at Ligony Kingston or Fairview Montego Bay. Find the most exquisite range of furniture in varying styles to suit your needs. So tell your story with elegant and affordable lounge, bedroom, dining pieces, and more from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Here at Ashley, this is home.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. Let's join our presenter on stage.
The manifesto of one party was a little more bread, a little more butter. And of the other was self-government and education. Anecdotally, it is said that the answer to the larger vision of self-government and education, the answer was that education can eat. And I don't know if we see, I'll only ask the question, if we see any manifestations of that kind of political behavior in our society at this time. It might have been a necessary thing to deal with the immediate needs of people. But in the end, without vision, the people perish. So a lot of things added up in the early years and the origins of political tribalism, and it developed through the years, the 40s, the 50s, into the 60s. It carried with it not only the distribution of housing in a partisan way, political violence, unions against unions, then later on political parties against political parties on election day in particular, then it spread. It spread. All of that came about under the leadership of political leadership at the time. So we can clearly say that from time to time, the political leadership in Jamaica has enabled actions which could lay the basis for retarding growth. Because if you're going to divert your workers from the kind of behavior that is necessary for increased productivity, obviously that's a part of the whole growth matrix. Recently, last week, Peter Bunting made his presentation in Parliament, and he asked the question, why is growth important? He didn't answer it himself, except by saying yes, but he quoted from an author who said, people at this point in time in world history, people are demanding their governments do more to impose their life, to improve their lives faster, something which policymakers are unable to deliver under conditions of anemic growth. Rising income inequality and a stagnant economy are threats to both the developed and the developed world, and leaders can no longer afford to ignore this gathering storm. But we have had this kind of situation in Jamaica for some 40 years or more, anemic growth. What is, I think, encouraging at this point is that there seems to be a convergence between the two political parties on some fundamentals in relation to macroeconomic stability, which I understand is necessary, if not necessarily sufficient, for growth to occur at some time. This has not been so for many, many years. It began in earnest just a few years ago with Peter Phillips and what they call the Economic Reform Program, which the people of Jamaica saw as the austerity program and voted them out, and has been continued by the present administration with the mantra of hoping for prosperity. Now, Dr. Nigel Clark, in a speech at the Jamaica Pegasus last Thursday, indicated the areas of macroeconomic indicators, etc., that are not only being followed now, but were initiated in a very substantive and substantial way in the last few years. But at the end of it, he says, economic growth, however, has lagged. In the discourse and the dialogue that has taken place in the last budget debate and in the recent week or two, there has been, what has been missing from it is the approach, an approach which has over the past years been seen to be blaming either Peter or Paul, right? So that to me represents an advance in the way that the political leadership is handling our economy. In some of the ways over the past, in particular after political independence, that governments have tried to answer the question of speaking to the demands of the masses of the Jamaican people, whether it is 1838, whether it is 1938, whether it is now, right? Was to try to, when we got into office, either administration, was to try to coax the bureaucracy into implementing what the policies of the various administrations are. In the 60s, we had a plethora, if you remember, of institutions called statutory boards. That was a response by the political leadership to the demands of the people for improvement in their lives, because the bureaucracy that we had inherited from the British was stodgy and didn't move very well. That was followed by things called executive agencies. Politicians themselves, the leaders, some of us who even went overboard with the appointments of aides, whether special assistants, personal assistants, all kinds of assistants, to try to ameliorate the policy delivery, the program delivery process. But those ended up in a public sector which now is in need of, and has been in need of reform for donkey's years. I could go on and on to give examples of how our political leadership, in attempting to address the needs of the people. I don't, from my own experience interfacing with politicians, I don't accept that the vast majority of us intend to go in there and get rich quickly. I have dealt with many politicians, and they have, most of them that I know, have gone into this thing with a good heart.
We take our final break, but don't go anywhere. We have more highlights for you after this.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just tuning in, we're here at the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture with DK Duncan. Now for more highlights.
I know that the topic for this afternoon, political leadership, an enabler or disabler to Jamaica's economic growth. When I look at the history of Jamaica, going back, I think, before independence, and you look at the various periods of times, the different parties that have come in and out to help to manage and guide this country. If we take independence until now, pretty much, I think you could say the two major parties have been at the wicket almost, don't hold me to it, but almost equal. Almost. And I think when parties go into power, they tend not to want to continue things that the other side started. And so you get a lot of energy being spent reversing things, trying to put something new in place. And it's time, energy, it's money that's lost, that's just gone. Whether it could be something simple as repainting a school because they didn't like the color that it was painted, and I've seen examples of this in my growing up days. It's only recently, I think, that we have come to appreciate the power of, I should say, good policy continuity. And we've just seen that demonstrated most recently with the most recent IMF agreement, the most recent program. We didn't spend time saying we're going to try to renegotiate the program.
I believe that the most essential resource for development in any nation, any country, is a God-fearing, well-rounded citizenry whose basic physical needs are adequately met, their communities governed daily by sustainable values, and a well-educated populace, while the national affairs are managed by God-fearing leaders of impeccable integrity and moral rectitude, totally committed to human flourishing and the common good. Any form of leadership which is not guided and undergirded by the Judeo-Christian values under God will inevitably be a disabler to sustainable economic growth. As I listened to the presenter, I noticed that some of the challenges that he highlighted could be better handled and balanced by persons who are consistently submitting to the values of God, guided by the Spirit of God. I believe that a major question leaders in the political arena, and all leaders, but particularly in the political arena, since we're focusing on that this evening, is that once ask the question and grapple with who is your ultimate authority. Am I ultimately accountable to God or to the party, my political party, or the various stakeholders who got me into office? To whom am I ultimately accountable? And once we have a clear understanding of that, then it would better enable us to make the right decisions which will redound to the best interest and welfare of the constituents. Political leadership has both enabled and disabled economic growth at different points in our history, as some of them were highlighted. And I believe that where there is creative tension among three pillars: relationship with God, relationship with the citizens, quality relationship with the citizens, and also quality relationship with the private sector, donor agency, and external governments, all this undergirded by the Judeo-Christian values and principles, then we will see political leadership being an enabler rather than a disabler.
My personal big takeaway from this discussion today is around the values, that we must have politics that are based on values. And that leads us to, once you create that value set that you live inside of, that last statement by Dr. Duncan, then gives you what is your own social consciousness that you live in, which then gives you that ideology. How do we articulate that ideology so that we can have a shared value set, a shared belief system, a shared system of belief in how our society should evolve, that would cause us to be empowered to get that kind of inclusive growth, is a question I think that we are left here to answer. Because we have not, over the years, we have kind of lost that, and we've become very transactional in the politics, really actually broken down to the point where as we say in Jamaica, we buy votes. That has to stop, so that instead of buying votes, people vote because they have true hope, not hope in jingling, not hope in growth as a thing in and of itself, but growth with a basis of creating the kind of society that we want, creating the value set that we want.
That brings us to the end of our coverage of the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture. Until next time, I'm Javon Keys. Stay tuned to Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Hi, my name is Martin Scott. I'm the Managing Director of Gulf Ray Americas Manufacturing Limited here in Jamaica. But we are the promoters of a special economic zone, actually the first special economic zone inland that manufactures a bunch of different products inside the zone, locally manufactured products for Jamaica, both for the local market and for export. Gulf Ray is the developer and promoter for the Special Economic Zone. Inside the Special Economic Zone, there are various local companies and joint venture companies that are here, all fully Jamaican owned. One of them being Gnostic Agricultural. Gnostic Agricultural is the first cigarette locally manufactured in Jamaica within the last 20 years. We also manufacture another local product. Grabba, as you know, is used predominantly in our culture here in Jamaica. We also manufacture Busters, a traditional Jamaican candy here, and these all fall under Gnostic Agriculture. There is also other industries inside the Special Economic Zone. Gulf Ray Petrochemicals Division, right, which is a manufacturer of some of the world's leading high-grade lubricants for every industry that you can possibly think of, from marine to aviation to automotive industry. So every type of lubricant you can possibly think of, we manufacture. I believe us to be the only fully fledged world-class lubricant manufacturer on the island, both for the domestic market and also for the international market. We have done exports to Cuba, we've done exports within CARICOM with our brother and sister countries inside the region, and are exploring Latin and South America markets as we speak for our lubricants. Another company that we have brought into Jamaica was we have revived the MG brand back in Jamaica. We are the dealers for MG Motors, which was a very popular brand back in my time, back in the 60s and 70s. Now at this present time, we are in a pilot project with MG Motors to eventually start assembling the MG cars and buses and so on and so forth here in the island. It behooves us to do that because of the long transit time across the ocean, and there's a big, large demand in South and Central America to have this brand readily available within the region. At the present time, though, we are totally manufacturing this Sankey bike here, which is, I like to call it a road rocket with the highest technical engineering possible on a bike today. It is fully assembled here in Jamaica, and we are distributing them and selling them locally. We've been in talks with the government to supply the police departments and various government agencies, both with the MG cars and the Sankey motorcycle, which would be good because having them both assembled and put together here, we keep it all in the family. Our money stays in the country. Rather than importing, we fully believe in being self-sufficient, and the more we manufacture, that's the more that I believe our economy will grow. Instead of importing, we will be an exporting country.
That's just a taste of what's lined up for you in today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. We have an interesting show planned, so don't go anywhere.
What about me, Jay?
No go to my general, no school, no work, no nothing.
Check this out. Maybe it can help you. That's what I go.
Are you between 18 and 24? Have you dropped out of school to look for work? Improve your chances by joining the National Service Corps. We will get you trained and certified and give you the start you need. This program has been designed to equip you with the core skills and support to succeed in the world of work. Grab your opportunity now. Apply for the National Service Corps program. Get trained, get certified, get ready for work. For more information, contact a Heart Trust NTA or National Youth Service Office.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, November 9. The government is looking to institute the proposed National Disaster Risk Financing Policy by next year. The development of the policy was approved by Cabinet on Tuesday, and it will target pre- and post-disaster interventions. It aims to position the government and wider society to better plan for and finance damage and losses resulting from natural disasters such as hurricanes and drought. In making the announcement, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says initial policy analysis and preparation will start in January 2019. Public consultation and the tabling of a green paper is set for March 2019.
This is a very aggressive but necessary timeline because we want to ensure that prior to the expiration of our current standby arrangement with the fund, we have at least a strategy in place, a policy in place that's been tabled in Parliament, debated in Parliament, and accepted, and becomes our national disaster financing risk policy.
Minister Clarke was addressing a joint public forum with the World Bank on Wednesday, looking at facing the fiscal risk of natural disasters. Documents presented reveal that between 1993 and 2003, Jamaica encountered 26 natural disasters, which resulted in losses and damage of $285.9 billion Jamaican dollars. The finance minister says the policy will ensure disaster resilience and planning becomes part of the public investment approach. He says the World Bank is offering technical support to develop the policy, while the Inter-American Development Bank is providing grant funding. Jamaica's new Building Act will become law on January 15, 2019. After more than a decade of discussions, the legislation was passed this year. It calls for the establishment of a Building Advisory Council, a Building Appeals Tribunal, and a Building Practitioners Board. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says the act will be fully enforced when the government is able to fill the posts on these boards.
We have started the process of appointing members to these boards, and we are awaiting the response regarding the nominations of persons to serve from the various associations named in the act as the contributing partners.
Minister McKenzie says the review of instruments, regulations, and procedures stipulated by the Act will also be completed soon. He was speaking recently at the ministry's quarterly press briefing. Students at the Hazard Primary School in Clarendon now have access to sidewalks and a pedestrian crossing, courtesy of the X Marks the Spot initiative. The new road safety features were unveiled on Wednesday. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, Michael Henry, praised the initiative, which he says will better protect our children and raise awareness about responsible road use.
I would remind you all that children are the future of our country. In this regard, safeguarding our children ultimately means safeguarding our future. The unveiling being done here today is timely, as we are experiencing avoidable road fatalities.
Under the X Marks the Spot initiative, the government has partnered with UNICEF and the JN Foundation to install similar road infrastructure at 18 schools across the island. The schools were selected after a child road safety assessment was done to identify zones where children are most vulnerable to incidents of road traffic crashes and injuries. Government is collaborating with the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women, UN Women, to develop a No Excuse for Abuse public education campaign. The campaign is one of the initiatives outlined in a 3-year Memorandum of Understanding between the government and the UN Women Multi-Country Office of the Caribbean.
Included in this MOU is the funding of the No Excuse for Abuse campaign. The No Excuse for Abuse campaign will take the anti-violence message to communities across the country. We will empower women and men, confront all notions about a woman's place, and encourage behavior change among women and men.
The Memorandum of Understanding was signed in September for the implementation of the National Strategic Plan to eliminate gender-based violence in Jamaica. This is a 10-year program which will focus on 5 priority areas: prevention, protection, intervention, legal procedures, and protocols for data collection. Minister Grange, who was addressing the House of Representatives on Tuesday, commended the international and local partners for their continued support to end gender-based violence in the country. And finally, the Ministry of Health will continue to carry out malaria prevention measures after treating a vessel from Nicaragua that was intercepted in Jamaican waters with persons on board diagnosed with the virus. Last week, the Coast Guard seized the vessel, which had 93 males on board. Subsequently, the Kingston and St. Andrew Health Department executed the standard operating procedures for clinical and public health assessment. 2 persons were diagnosed with malaria, and a third was identified on a subsequent assessment. They were isolated and treated at the Kingston Public Hospital. The ministry says vector control activities, including disinfection of the vessel, were conducted and are ongoing as per standard operating procedures. Jamaica was returned to the malaria-free list in 2012 after an outbreak in 2006. And while the country has seen cases of imported malaria each year, the last local case was in 2009. The Ministry of Health is encouraging citizens to help keep Jamaica malaria-free by reporting any unofficial entry of foreigners to public health officials. For further information, persons may contact the Ministry of Health at 1-800-1-LOVE. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Stand up and get in the race.
can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, Bolt and a Sapa.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the idling. You think I saw? We reach a the edging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
So we all know it's Youth Month, and the theme for this year's celebration is Level Up. But what does this mean? Well, it's really a call to action for young people to see what they can do better, what more they can give, and what more they can be. Here's an example of a bright young lady who is living that.
Not very often we get a chance to meet junior broadcasters like yourself or a junior broadcaster like yourself. And so it gives me great pleasure and quite an honor to sit and talk with you today. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
My life in broadcasting actually started at Almonton Primary School, where the former principal, Mrs. Candalee Crooksmith, identified that I had a passion in speaking. And in speaking, I mean, I was very talkative in class, and she wanted me to learn how to use my voice in a positive way. So that's where I found the Kids Hub Media Network, a non-profit organization where we seek to give kids, tweens, and teens an opportunity to share their voice. And I became a part of that organization, and my life in broadcasting just took full speed there from there.
So when you were given that opportunity, how did that make you feel?
I felt amazing because now learning how to use my voice in a positive way, I am better able to interact with others, I have better communication skills, and I just find myself being a better individual.
Do you believe that you found your passion?
Yes, I have found one of my passions.
One of the passions. Of
journalism. Yes. But I just love being on camera and having a mic and letting my voice be heard. And what I love about journalism is that it helps you to be a current and well-rounded individual.
Your opportunity which you were given to be a part of the President Obama visit to Jamaica, what are some of the other issues that you're able to deal with as a junior broadcaster?
I'll mainly focus on the confidence that the young boys and girls may have in themselves. Bullying, we recently spoke about bullying in schools and how that affects others. And just how to be the best you in all that you can do.
And how are you able to strike a balance between, obviously you're doing well academically here at St. Hugh's and being a junior broadcaster, how are you able to strike the balance between both?
I'm doing my best at the time management because it's not an easy concept to grasp for me, but I am still trying. And it's just a blessing, I guess, when some people ask me, how do I manage this and multi-talents, and I just organize myself well and try to cover a lot in the time I'm given.
And so you live in a single parent household, but aren't mothers amazing to provide the nurture and the care and the love and the kind of motivation? But there's something else. What is that other little thing that keeps you motivated outside of your mother's encouraging words?
I would have to say, I would have to give it all to God, that He keeps me going, because many times you're gonna feel demotivated and that you can't go on, but then you just remember where you're coming from and where you are now, and you actually feel proud of yourself, not overconfident, yes, but in that essence to say you are thankful and that you can't wait to see where you are to go in the future. So I would have to give it all to God.
What is the one lesson that you've learned having been a junior broadcaster? And how has that one lesson, changed your life or impact your life in a particular way?
I have learned to accept failure, and it wasn't an easy process. Failure is not anything that anybody would be comfortable with, but it's something that goes hand in hand with success, and that's what I've learned over time being a junior broadcaster. It has just been helping me in my growth as a junior broadcaster, and just how to handle criticism, and to just, you don't take it negatively but turn it into a positive way in order to bloom you and to just allow you to become the individual that you should be.
What's the one message you would like young boys and young girls who are watching this program to walk away with?
To try. So that's what I would want them to walk away with. Never give up on your dreams and always aspire to be the best you that you can be, and to just aspire to achieve greatness and always put God first.
And so I want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much. And it really was a pleasure talking with you and to you. And from one broadcaster to the next, I'd like to just encourage you to continue to do what you're doing with great passion. And if you want to become successful, more successful and great in the business, then that inner passion must always be like a candle burning, never out. But the flame is constantly burning. That when you think about all the things that you want to accomplish, you feel so good inside, and you're filled with so much joy. When you have that kind of passion, there's longevity. So I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for talking to us.
Hear this, youth, older people, mature people, anyone who is listening right now, don't wait for extraordinary moments. Seize small opportunities and make them great. I've learned that through this experience. So if you have an idea, there's something that you want to do and you have not sought out an avenue, trust me, the time is now. Get it done.
So you saw part 1 of our 2018 JIS Heritage School Tour Roundup yesterday. Well, as promised, we have part 2 for you today.
You can get it if you really want, but you must try. Try and try, try and try.
You'll succeed at last. Undoubtedly, songs like these are a great part of our heritage. Welcome to part 2 of the JIS Heritage Tour. I'm Sandra Clark. Stay with us.
You can get it if you really want.
Yeah.
You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want, but you must try. Try and try, try and try. You succeed at last.
As we've done in years past, the JIS team used the annual Heritage School Tour to spread cultural awareness among those who hold our nation's future in their hands. For part 2 of the tour, we journeyed to Portland, St. Mary, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland.
It's good for us to be here. Thank you so much for allowing us to come to visit you.
Drink cocoa tea, mango time, turpentine, large and fine, mango time, in the eyes of the mango crop, when the fruits them are ripe and drop, wash your pot, turn them down, mango time, mango time.
The students of Orange Bay Primary School in Portland had us rocking to their electrifying, culturally rich offerings.
Education for life, adapt me rather. So thanks to me mother and me father. Study me a study forget the mark ya come. Me no want nobody come boss me master. The key to success I must confess. I marks in a school. Release my stress when exam time. I no guess me go guess cause me want have me own money express. Me skyscraper and me elevator. One limousine and me Land Cruiser. So when my friend them a play, me a study master cause education for life adapt me rather.
Sister Parish St. Mary was our next stop, and they sure kept the vibes coming.
Your name, deliver your mercies. Whenever I fall, you lift me up. Glory to thee, oh God.
What a nice way to say welcome from the Maroons' traditional communication instrument. Yeah man, we were impressed with the students of Scottsall Primary's knowledge and use of our culture. We said Little Later Eastern Jamaica and Wagwan Trilani. That's right, Falmouth Primary. No bother guani, and no bother come a Bendong Market, come feel up.
When the roll is called out, I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of times. We'll be taking care of all the children thereof, but it's required to be on the front line. You can call me by my name, I am ready to roll.
Cedric Titus left us feeling like they could vie for top honors on any musical competition show. St. James was our next stop, and the students at the schools we visited didn't disappoint.
You see how me trial now, ma? That maga girl Wingy want put me in a cas. I'm big lion Tory. She said come call me the other day. And when I got my child, the whole family get around me like I was cursing Nile. Them say somebody tell me story. And she tell her daughter that Lou they walk about and definiate her character. And there's somebody what tell me story. So there's somebody what know Wingy. So Wingy tell that somebody, and that somebody must be me.
After saying farewell to St. James, we made our way to a parish where the people are warm and the climate is even more inviting. The students even displayed some traditional items. We ended our school tour in Westmoreland, and the gates of Ferris Primary School were wide open to welcome the JIS team.
Won't you help me sing this song of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption song.
And during our rap session, we were left impressed with the students' knowledge of things Jamaican.
I learned that Jamaica was also called Examaica.
Nice. All right, here you go.
I learned that Rio Minho in Clarendon is the largest river in Jamaica.
On behalf of the Jamaica Information Service, we want to thank you and your staff and all the students of Ferris Primary for having us here today.
So guess what? We've finally come to the end of this year's JIS Heritage Tour. It doesn't mean that you should stop celebrating our Jamaican culture. Remember, one love, one family, one heritage.
And I was raised resilient people, a tropical island. Oh yeah. And I learned to smile. Here I learned what love is. Authentic Jamaica, the happiest island. Oh yes. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. The energy is high. Our people proud and strong. When we stand together, we're rising for better. Oh yeah. We're many but one. Together we will strive. When unity is our strength, we rise from our struggles. Oh yeah. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. Jamaicans, I really love you. We'll smile the way right through. We're third millennium. I really like you, forever love you. We are wonderfully great, but happiness at all. Now, tomorrow, forever. I really like you, forever love you. Jamaica, 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 Jamaica. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. 'Cause I was born here. And I was raised here. Sunshine Jamaica, my blessed Jamaica. Mighty one, oh, I bless our land always, for strength and our vigor, with love and our courage. Oh, yeah. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican.
And just like that, we have arrived at the last page of today's magazine. But don't worry, you can turn the pages with us again tomorrow and every day after. While you wait, visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for our daily video uploads and news stories. You may also follow us on all our social media sites for the latest information on government initiatives and programs. I'm Audrey. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
My name is Dennis O'Brien, Chairman of Digicel. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV. Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV welcomes you to the launch of Weddings JA. I'm your host, Amita Prasadweb, and today we're here in the gardens of the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Please stay tuned for highlights.
So Shangri-La Flowers and Gifts is a wedding company and an all-rounded wedding company. We're located in Montego Bay and Ocho. So what we do is wedding decor, wedding florals, wedding rentals, and also wedding planning. So really a one-stop shop for your wedding as well. So you guys, this event we thought would be a perfect way to come into the Kingston market since we don't yet have a store in Kingston.
It's the launch of Weddings JA. What are your thoughts thus far, turnout and the other booths?
Well, actually, it looks really well. I'm glad that the turnout, despite, weather had set to be rainy. So I'm glad with the turnout as well. And the booths are actually looking really well. So we're happy that we had sponsored this amazing event.
So talk to us about Tent City. What is it that you guys do?
We're a tent company, and what we do is rent different tents for different occasions, weddings, party, graduations, you name it.
Talk to us about the relationship between Tent City and Weddings JA.
Well, we're one of the sponsors, and they call us and we partnered with them, and that's why we're here today.
What's next for Tent City?
Well, what's next for Tent City is that we have new and upcoming tents, and for the December period, as we're here now, this is one of our new tents. It's a skylight. We have it here just to show the customers to see if they'll take it, because it's kind of different, you understand? And just to showcase our new tent.
I think when people think of tents, they think of one type of tent. Can you give us some examples of the different types of tents that Tent City offers?
Well, our tents are white, really, and mostly high peak, and we have different sizes. The sizes vary from 10 by 10, and we can go as far as 40 by 100.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome fashion from Lust Yosh Design DJ. Let's go. Make some noise for Lust Yosh Fashion. So where can we find you? Take it down.
All right, so you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Lust Yosh Designs, or you can email us at lustyoshdesigns@gmail.com. Number 873-7319. Thank you.
Talk to us about Sparkles Productions.
Well, we're a production company, but we do other stuff as well. We do weddings. So not only do we do the sound and the flooring and the lighting and the trussing, we do decor, we do flowers, we do invitations, we do photography. So we are a one-stop. So I know a lot of people think Sparkles Productions, they think of big stage shows, they think of music, they think of sound. But we do have a department for weddings. And because we come with everything, we are able to give better costings.
You're here today as a sponsor at Weddings JA. Talk to us about that relationship.
Sure. Well, Renisha called me and said, check out our new site. And I did, and I liked it. I like the idea of everybody in the wedding industry coming together. And so when she called me and said she's doing a launch, I said, yes, count me in. I'll be there. I like it. I like the networking. And I like to see what everybody else is doing.
All right, so talk to us about your business, 81 Sound Entertainment.
All right, my business. Originally, I'm an event promoter. I've been so for probably like the better part of 20 years. Made the decision about 3 years ago to branch out into service provision. Here am I, 81 Sound Entertainment. So I've used all the experience that I've garnered in my almost 2 decades and turned it into service provision and, and to provide quality service. So that's basically it.
Talk to us about the relationship between Weddings JA and 81 Sound.
All right, Weddings JA now. When they originally started their promotion, I liked the idea of having a wedding directory, and I like the concept of launching that directory and their service in the form of a wedding show. And I approached them and said, hey, I'm willing to work with you guys, and they accepted, and I'm gracious for their acceptance and for the opportunity, and we worked together, and we created an experience. As you can see by the turnout, they did a wonderful job where marketing is concerned and the layout and so forth, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to work with them.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Now, the aim of this competition is called Professing Your Love. It's called what? Professing your love. What is it called? Professing your love. It's pretty simple. The couple that professes their love the best through kiss wins. All right, so you're gonna all start after 3. So face your partner. All right. Take on a hand out on a pocket. Remember, you know, and this is gonna last for 15 seconds. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm trying to be as well as you. Your dresses look stunning. Don't they look stunning, ladies? Come on, make some noise, ladies. All right, so tell us more about your company and where we can find you and all your contact information.
All right, so it's Bliss Bridal Boutique. We are located at 7 to 9 Arden Road in our new big, nice, fabulous location. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook at Bliss Bridal JA. Our telephone number is 876-622-2547, or for ease, it's actually 876-62-BLISS.
All right, talk to us about Victoria House Events Limited.
All right, Victoria House Events Limited is located at 11 Lindsay Crescent. What we do all year functions, but we mainly do weddings. We do from a pin to an anchor. The only thing we don't do is find the gentleman, but we find everything else: the dresses, the cake, the food, the pastor, the location, just about everything.
Today you're here at Weddings JA launch. Talk to us about your experience here today.
It has been an awesome day. Beyond my wildest dream. We had so many persons coming in. it was just busy, busy, busy all day, all morning. People just keep coming. But it was good. It's a good experience. And for sure, we'll be in this next year.
WeddingsJA.com is Jamaica's premier online wedding directory, offering an impressive list of over 1,000 Jamaica-based wedding vendors. She has a bachelor's in entertainment management and a master's in marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the founder, the CEO, the woman herself, Renisha James. Make some noise. She's the reason why we're here today. And to have the symbolic launching of the website, we're going to be having the cutting of the ribbon. Are you ready? So we're going to count down from 5. And you're going to count with me. Ready? 5. Shout it. 5. Round of applause, round of applause. All right, Renisha, tell us more about the vision behind WeddingsJA.com.
Well, you know, people are always getting married, and any bride-to-be will tell you that planning a wedding is no easy feat. So, this website was created to make it absolutely easy for the bride to find everything that she could ever need. I mean, we have honeymoon, makeup artists, venues, photographers, decorators, rings, dresses, DJs, MCs, you name it, everything is on WeddingsJA.com. So ladies and grooms to be, you can, in the comfort of your bedroom or your living room, just go online and find everything that you're looking for with one click. Isn't that amazing?
It's the launch of WeddingsJA.com. Congrats, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling so good.
How did the idea come about?
Well, I saw that there was a need for brides-to-be to find everything that they really needed to plan their wedding successfully with ease. And so I thought that this would be a really, really good thing to introduce to the market to fill that gap.
The day is almost over. What's the feedback been like so far?
It's been amazing. People are like, is this going to be an annual event? This is so awesome. I really had fun. Like, it's been so much positive feedback, so I'm really happy.
Now that your website has launched, what's the next step?
The next step is for wedding businesses all across Jamaica to get listed so that the brides-to-be and the grooms-to-be can find them easily, because that's what WeddingsJA is all about. In addition to brides signing up on the website, we have discounts from our vendors that brides can also get when they sign up. And it's really just to let everyone know that we are open for business. Log on to the website, brides, find everything that you need, vendors, get listed.
And there you have it, the launch of WeddingsJA. I've been your host, Amita Prasad Web, and thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.
On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, rejected Caribbean islands say no to the Caribbean Court of Justice. That plus company news, the top business stories, and latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday.
You're watching Business Access TV. Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
you're looking for a sleek, sporty, and spacious vehicle, then the C-Class may be just for you. Business Access TV is here at Silver Star Motors for the C-Class Mercedes-Benz facelift launch. I'm your host, Amita Prasad Webb. Please stay tuned for highlights. Welcome to the launch of the new C-Class. The new look C-Class is the biggest model update in the car's history, with 6,500 updates and new additions. We are going to show you 3 different models, and I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome. So, the Mercedes-Benz, best or nothing. And in order for us to keep that true, the brand has to keep improving. So, we're in the 5th generation of the C-Class. It's the most successful model for Mercedes-Benz. And the C-Class has been comprehensively optimized and resharpened and combines emotionality with intelligence. What do I mean about that? One of the features that we're going to tell you about today is that the vehicle has air balance. We offer this as an option. You can choose a fragrance that makes you feel comfortable in your car, whether you want to have a soft mood or you want to be energized. The design of the exterior and interior benefits are stylish. The vehicle's new appearance is defined in particular by its modified front end and design of the headlamps and taillights. High-quality sculpted details underline the sophisticated look and feel. LED high-performance headlamps and the multi-beam LED headlamps with ultra-range high beam are available. The interior is sporty and has a premium look and feel. New interior colors and trim elements have been introduced. So today we'll actually be launching and showing you one of the new colors. I won't spoil the surprise yet. The C-Class also adopts the control and display concept from the current S-Class and comes with the option of a fully digital instrument display and 3 individually selected display styles. The C-Class has touch-sensitive controls in the steering wheel, which makes control of the functions easier. And they do this by a touchpad. Now we have everybody on board today, so I want you to challenge Thomas, Cara, Homer, Jason, the entire team, to telling you all about the features. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
We hear that it's sporty, spacious, and sleek, but what else sets this vehicle apart from the others that we may come across? The new look C-Class has come out with a lot of new features, including new colors, new interior trim elements, a fully instrument digital display, a larger media display, and multi-beam LED headlamps as an optional feature. So talk to us about the demand for these high-end vehicles. So the demand for luxury vehicles in Jamaica is high. We're very impressed, and we're hoping that the C-Class will hit the market strong and that the Jamaicans will love the new features as much as we do. In fact, our C43 AMG that we launched today has already been sold. The new look C-Class comes with an optional headlamp feature for LED high-performance headlamps or multi-beam LED headlamps. It also comes with a diamond grille, which is beautiful and makes it a classy and sporty look. The new look C-Class comes with several new trim options, including the one you see in this beautiful C300. The C-Class also comes with a larger media display screen, as you can see. The steering wheel also comes with touchpad and control buttons to make functions easier when you're driving. The new class has an option for a fully instrument digital cluster, which as you can see gives it a sporty, upgraded, fancy look. One of the cool features of the new C-Class is the energizing comfort control, where you can select Ascent, music, and seats based on your mood. Refresh, vitality. Our C-Class also come with an anti-dazzle feature, which is for the rear view mirror and side mirrors, where if a car shines a light from behind you and it hits the mirror will tint so you only see what's directly behind you. This is such a useful and safe feature for driving at night.
Driving a German whip, driving a German whip. Yo! If you see man driving a German whip, blacked out window leaning back, see man driving a German whip, look like a baller, please and that.
Mr. Stevenson, you've had previous Mercedes models. Speak to us about that compared to this. What would you say sets this one apart?
So what sets the C-Class apart is that it is actually the best-selling Mercedes of all time. So Mercedes have a lot of love for the C-Class. As you heard earlier, there's 6,500 new parts for the car, and that is the biggest overhaul for this car ever. So I think this car, they gave it a lot more love than previous ones. And the tagline for this car is never stop improving. And that meshes nicely with the Mercedes-Benz tag, which is the best or nothing. So you can expect to see a lot of really cool little features in this car, such as the fragrance that you can put in the car. There's 64 different types of ambient lighting. So this car is very much tied to the individual. It gets you in a mood, it gets you in a, I don't know, just wraps you up in a cocoon of awesomeness when you drive a car like this. So I think that that's what they've done with this car. They've made it intimate.
Let's talk price points and our payment plans available.
So we start at 11.4 for the C180, which is the entry level. And we do have financing packages. We have our in-house financing, which is Simpson Finance. Currently, they've got the best rate on the market at 6.99%. So now is a really good time to actually get in and get a financial package through Simpson Finance, because I think it's the 6.99% will last till the end of next month. So it's a good time to buy a C-Class or a Mercedes.
All right, so you've just had your C-Class Benz facelift launch. What's next for Stewart's Automotive Group?
Well, the group is always trying to bring something new to the market for the Jamaicans, because we love our people. The closest thing in mind, we're coming out with 2 new models at Mitsubishi, the Traj and the Montero Sport. They should be coming early next year, and we're very excited to expand the models that we offer. I think the Jamaican public will be very happy with them as well.
In regards to the launch today, what would you say is your favorite feature of the new C-Class?
Well, I really like the updated interior, the new screens. It really brings a fresh look and it keeps up with the competition. The competition is always evolving and they have great vehicles, so it's good to see that our manufacturer is keeping pace and outdoing them, in my personal opinion.
That's it from us here. Until next time, I've been your host, Amita Prasad Webb, and thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.
My name is Safri Brown, and you're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Rejected. Caribbean islands say no to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Weekend Business Report starts right now. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Kenil Gale. Thanks so much for joining us this week. Both Grenada and Antigua and Barbuda voted this week to stay with the UK Privy Council as their country's final appellate court. Voters in the referendums overwhelmingly rejected the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ. We're taking a closer look at what swayed the votes in Antigua and Barbuda and the implications for the Gaston Brown administration. We'll tell you more about that in a bit, but right now here are some of the top stories from the BATV News Desk. The IMF mission chief to Jamaica, Umar Ramakrishnan, says the private sector has not been taking advantage of the reforms happening in the Jamaican economy. The IMF mission chief to Jamaica addressed journalists in Kingston via video conference on Wednesday. Sashana Small was there.
The economic reforms happening in the Jamaican economy are being described as historic by the IMF chief mission to Jamaica, Umar Ramakrishnan. She pointed out that unemployment levels are low, there is reduced public debt, and reserves are at an all-time high. But the private sector has not been taking advantage of this, and as a result, economic growth is low.
We would expect that in an economy that has done so much reforms and an economy where, the fundamentals are unprecedented. When was the last time that debt was this low? It was way back in 2000. When was inflation this low? When was, unemployment this low? I mean, these are historic times for Jamaica. And so we would expect that private investors would be jumping into the real economy to find investment opportunities. But we are not seeing that. So there is something that is holding them back.
One such factor that's preventing more investment from the private sector is the country's crime levels. And although Umar Ramakrishnan acknowledged the measures being taken to reduce it, she says it's still high on a global scale.
Crime is still a big issue, and while there are several measures are in place and the crime rate is coming down, Jamaica, by international standards, still has a high crime rate, and so addressing that is going farther, and addressing that will attract more foreign direct investment. So that's one thing.
Additionally, the IMF chief mission pointed to what she says is the length of time it's taking the private sector to develop a new business model after being dependent on the government for securities for so long.
The fiscal dominance, the dependence on securities from the government has been there for decade upon decade upon decade. And all of a sudden, that tap has been turned off. And now the business model has to therefore shift. The private sector has to find a new business model for generating its profits in order to grow. It can no longer depend on the government. And we think that that surge in this new business model, in this new environment where the dependence on the government has to be weaned off, is taking a little longer than what we would have hoped for or expected.
She said access to finance, especially for small businesses, is still an issue.
Farmers, for example, are not able to get the titles for the land to use that as collateral in order to borrow. That's a simple example. Compound that in many different dimensions, and so that becomes another problem. So improving the flexibility for access to finance needs a little more work, and we think if that improves, then the small and medium enterprise sector will be able to invest a lot more.
Meanwhile, the IMF mission chief says Jamaica's historic low unemployment rate is not translating into economic growth because the jobs that are available aren't adding much value to the economy. Here's more.
The latest unemployment figures released by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin show that unemployment rate is now just 8.4%. This is a 3% decrease when compared to July last year. Youth unemployment is also down to approximately 22%. However, the IMF latest review shows that although the country's macroeconomy is stable, growth remains low. But since more people are working, why isn't the country experiencing more economic growth?
So the employment numbers reflect that businesses are growing and that new people are being employed, but it also reflects that the lower growth number reflects that the employment is happening in the lower value-add sector.
One such sector is the BPO industry, which continues to grow in Jamaica. But Dr. Umar Ramakrishnan says these jobs do not contribute much to economic growth.
One of the reasons why the higher employment numbers are not yet translating into higher growth numbers is because the types of employment that are being generated are on the lower value add in sectors. For example, the BPO sector is a very high growth sector. It is a very high potential growth sector. But right now, the call centers, the value add that is coming from the BPO sector is the labor. There is no additional, not a whole lot of capital or other productive activity that is going on there. So in terms of value add for the growth, it is small.
Researchers at the Mona School of Business and Management are warning that Jamaica must increase its exports in order to improve its global competitiveness ranking. Jamaica is ranked 79th of 140 countries on this year's report, falling 9 places when compared to last year. Jamila Maitland tells us more.
After being named the highest rated country in the Caribbean by the World Economic Forum last year, Jamaica has fallen from its 70th position to now placing 79th. But Director of the Professional Services Unit at the Mona School of Business and Management, Dr. William Lawrence, says a major cause for this is the country's market size, which is arguably too small. He says smaller countries like Trinidad and Tobago have a much larger market size than Jamaica because they export more, ranking them higher in the WEF report.
Less than 15% of manufacturing output is export. The rest is local. The market size issue, the need to export, has been a perpetual call by the World Economic Forum. We've got to ensure that we provide policies, incentives, strategies to rev export up.
Dr. Lawrence warned that the country needs to increase export to become more competitive. He suggests diversifying the exports.
And if you look at good areas with good potential, like agro-industry, where we can use local materials, add value, produce not just food and beverage, produce cosmetics, produce household chemicals, produce a range of things. The sky is the limit, so certainly we can do more.
Moving on now, for over a decade, several islands across the Caribbean have been talking about abandoning the UK Privy Council and making the Trinidad-based Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, their final appellate court. Well, on Wednesday, the issue, championed by Prime Minister Gaston Brown, was put to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. However, less than 50% said yes. This meant that the referendum failed to get the 2/3 majority needed to have the country adopt the CCJ. So, how did a cause championed by a popular Prime Minister fail? ABS Television News sought some answers.
Prime Minister the Honourable Gaston Brown disappointed with the outcome. His concern lies with the many Antiguans and Barbudans who cannot afford to access the Privy Council.
Oh, that was the primary motive that the referendum was seeking to cure. So I think those are the individuals who are, in essence, the losers.
He admits the Labour Party should have mobilized earlier.
As a result, you'd recognize that most of our supporters did not show up. And I think we may have missed that opportunity to provide that level of partisan leadership, recognizing there was a partisan issue anyway.
Stating partisan politics interfered.
The partisan nature of the referendum, the subterfuge of the opposition, the false information, the lies, the innuendos that they've utilized in order to undermine the yes vote. It is unlikely that my government would proceed anytime soon, certainly within this term, with another referendum.
Prime Minister Brown acknowledging that reaching 67% of the yes vote, a daunting task.
We lost the yes vote, or the yes vote loss, but it's not a loss for the party per se, or for me personally, in that we remain firmly in control of the government, and our focus now is to ensure that we continue to expedite the socio-economic advancement of the people of Antigua and Barbuda.
He says a constitutional review committee will be put on hold until a more opportune time when the people of our country are ready and when leaders of the opposition won't bring politics into it.
I say here, though, to those who would have voted yes, that ultimately history will absolve them because they did the right thing. They took the sustainable position. At the end of the day, we will have to leave the Privy Council. They can jump high, jump low. We'll have to leave. Either we're forced to leave, or at some point we may see the need to leave voluntarily, but we'll have to leave, so that day will come.
I'm Sharon Miller-Taswell, ABS News.
Antiguans and Barbudans making the decision to stay with the Privy Council as its final appellate court. However, a low voter turnout. Supervisor of Elections Lorna Simon provides the details.
There was a total of 52,999 persons on the register. For the question, 17,782 persons voted at a voter turnout percentage of 33.55.
She outlines how people voted.
The percentage of persons voting yes is 47.96, or 8,509 votes. The percentage of persons voting no, 52.04 percentage, for a total of 9,234 electors.
The St. John's Rural South constituency had the lowest turnout. Only 26% of registered voters in that constituency voted. On the other hand, St. John's Rural North saw the highest voter turnout, with almost 42% of voters in that constituency casting ballots. Of the 17 constituencies, only 7 voted in majority favor of acceding to the CCJ. They are St. John's City West, St. John's Rural East, St. Peter, St. Philip's North, St. John's City East, St. John's City South, and St. Mary's North. St. John's City South garnered the highest number of yes votes with 62%. Meanwhile, an overwhelming number of Barbudans casted ballots against the CCJ. 78% voted against acceding to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Jessica Russell, ABS News.
Gaston Browne is Prime Minister today, and I think it's my professional opinion that if an election were called tomorrow, he would win again handsomely. The UPP is still in a mess. They still have major issues that they need to deal with in terms of the leadership and the focus, structuring the party and rebuilding it and whatnot. This does not signal by any far stretch of the imagination that the UPP is strong.
That's the declaration political scientist and pollster Peter Wickham made as he noted that the government still has the support of the majority of residents. The political scientist was responding to statements over the airwaves in which persons equated the outcome of the referendum to a victory by the UPP. He suggested that the opposition should refocus and address its leadership matters. Wickham recommended that the government should put the overall issues pertaining to constitutional reform on the back burner at this time.
Personally, I think that matters of constitutional review ought to be off the table for Ali now, and maybe they can pick them up after the next election if they feel so inclined. But in the meantime, the developmental agenda and other issues that were important I believe should be prioritized, and they should press on with those.
So should this country follow in Grenada's footsteps and attempt the referendum on the CCJ a second time?
It takes a lot of energy to put a referendum together. It's costly. And I would think that the government would be ill-advised to go down this road, certainly for the remainder of the parliamentary term. Maybe in the next term, a government may do this, but one would argue that Prime Minister Browne, certainly if he were to win the next election, would not want to see this as a priority.
Amar Sayre is reporting for ABS News.
Company news comes up next, then later. Could cheap fashion be ruining our oceans? We'll hear what some scientists think. That's in the final segment of the show. More will be after this break.
Welcome to The Business Year. The Business Year is a global media group specializing in economic news and business intelligence. We bring our readers first-hand insights from over 35 countries. Each of our country-centered publications features over 150 face-to-face interviews with local leaders in business and policy. We are The Business Year.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. Here's this week's company news.
UWI Vice Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles says they're considering the possibility of opening shares in the university to the public. He says such a move would boost UWI's financial stability and long-term sustainability. He says this would add another tranche of earnings, pointing out that they have been also encouraging governments to give them assets in a bid to lower their arrears to the university. Vice Chancellor Beckles says in the short to medium future, some of the institution's assets could be placed in a property and asset management company. That would be used to develop property assets and generate more value for the university. This could then lead to an initial public offering. Jamaican scientist Dr. Henry Lowe's FlavorCure Biotech has secured a 20% interest by Canadian biotech company Atlas Biotechnologies. Atlas will now hold one seat on FlavorCure's initial 7-member board of directors. The deal sees Atlas invest in $5.75 million into FlavorCure for more intensive research into the use of cannabis for medicinal and pharmaceutical treatment for cancer. The marijuana industry is reportedly worth up to $9 billion.
Let's now take a look at the closing numbers from major stock markets around the world. When we come back, more of the week's top stories from the BATV News Desk, so stay with us.
This is the new Tough Crossover. An exploring gear that pumps out your tough side. Strong and sturdy on the outside. Calm and comfort on the inside. This is Suzuki New SX4 S-Cross. Gear to explore.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. More news now. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says the government intends to review the investment limits on pension funds, but he says the revision will be in phases. The minister was speaking at the 3rd Caribbean Finance and Investment Forum recently. Here's more.
On BATV's business discussion program On Point last week, Vice President and Chief Investment Officer at Scotia Investment, Brian Fraser, expressed his dissatisfaction with the limits placed on pension funds for investments. He said because of these limits, pension funds aren't able to invest in local infrastructure developments.
What would have affected pension funds in terms of participating in large infrastructural projects is, there's one reason, which is the limits that the pension fund currently has. We do not, for example, have limits to invest in private equity, or we have a small limit that we'll have to share across all the other investment classes outside of equities, real estates.
How much is that limit?
It's currently 5%.
He also pointed out that market conditions make now the opportune time to invest.
Given the current situation in Jamaica where, the interest rates are very low and the returns on government instruments are very low, as well as the fact that the government has been borrowing less in the market. Pension funds now have an appetite for more investment.
But these concerns may soon be addressed. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says the government is looking to review the limits on pension funds.
After our long sort of financial sector crisis, our regulations moved in the direction of really stopping risk-taking as opposed to in the direction of managing risk. We have been engaged in a long-term review of investment limits for pension funds. Pension funds today are precluded from investing in certain classes of investments that are normal, standard, and expected in most parts of the world.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says his ministry is preparing a cabinet submission to have the ban on jet skis lifted. More in this report.
5 years ago, the government announced a ban on the importation of jet skis for commercial purposes. A ban was also placed on the importation of all personal watercraft. The government took this action after a series of fatal accidents across the island involving jet skis. But investors have been complaining that they are losing out on their investments, and the government is now responding.
Players in the industry have been waiting, and some have been at risk in terms of their own investment, and others have gotten a bit agitated. You know, the level of patience have run out in some instances, and I think it is appropriate that we should address in finality this matter.
The minister says that the submission will also include a policy that will guide the water sports industry.
I believe that we are now at a point where we can make a cabinet submission in relation to the matter of a policy on green paper on the water sports industry in Jamaica. I think we're in a position now where we can look at what are the necessary infrastructure and how we can resource these infrastructure requirements to enable the proper execution of the policy.
But the ban will not be lifted immediately. The minister says first, the Maritime Authority of Jamaica, MAJ, will have to peruse the legislation. He says if all goes well, the ban will be lifted in January.
It would have been a wonderful thing to say that we are going to re-engage this activity within the next 4 weeks. But the reality is there are bits of legislative arrangements that still have to come together. And I think in particular, the Maritime Authority of Jamaica has some tweaking to do in terms of their legislative architecture to enable this full rollout that we want.
Minister Bartlett says this time the policy will be properly enforced.
In terms of the enforcement arrangements, Senior Superintendent, I think we have some work to do also in terms of building out the equipment capabilities of the Marine Police Force to be able to monitor and properly enforce the rules that we are establishing.
Victoria Pier in downtown Kingston has been shortlisted as an entertainment zone. Minister of Entertainment Olivia Grange made the announcement at the official opening of Ribby's Ocean Lounge last weekend. She says this is part of the government's drive to transform downtown Kingston. Jamila Maitland tells us more.
Minister Grange says the government is examining areas in Kingston, including downtown, to be established as entertainment zones. Although mum on the details, she did reveal that Victoria Pier in the capital has been shortlisted.
We are looking at a number of areas, and a team has been visiting. We've been meeting with NEPA, and very soon we will be announcing a number of locations. Downtown Kingston and Ribby's, Victoria Pier, this area is on that short list for such declaration.
She says very soon, several locations will be listed as either designated entertainment areas, zones, or districts. This will include the type and duration of events to be held in the spaces.
determination will be made as to what time entertainment can take place in those areas. There'll be cut-off times, and there'll be times when entertainment can be 24/7. So we will be providing the definition of the various categories and what the criteria will be and what the restrictions will be and also what one will be able to do. In staging their events, depending on the event, will be determined as to which zones, which district or which venue can accommodate those activities.
When we come back, could your cheap clothes be clogging the ocean? Some scientists think so. More on that after this break.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. Scientists in Britain are warning that fabric fragments shed from cheap disposable clothes, often during washing, are clogging the seas around the country. Take a look.
Today I've been aboard this research vessel, seeing new evidence that Britain's taste for cheap fashion could be affecting marine pollution.
If you're talking about a dress at a price point of £5, it almost makes it a single-use item, just the same as a single-use coffee cup. Something that we're using for a very short period, potentially, and yet it has a long persistence as waste.
This net gathers textile microfibers. They're tiny strands shed from clothing, often during washing. Visible under the microscope, cheap synthetic fibre can lead to long-lasting pollution.
It might be hard for people to feel strongly about a form of pollution they can't even see. Is it doing any real harm?
The laboratory evidence indicates that they have the potential to cause harm to marine life.
Think about marine pollution and what springs to mind are things like plastic bags and packaging, yet this is a form that you can't even see without a microscope. Yet one of its main sources is likely to be right at your fingertips.
MPs are now investigating clothing's environmental footprint, and some fear the growing trend of fashion for a fiver.
What we heard from the experts that gave evidence to us in our inquiry is that, frankly, if your dress costs a little bit more than a cup of coffee, you're going to treat it in the same disposable way.
On these 4 leading online fashion sites today, we found dresses for a fiver or even less. These examples are almost entirely polyester. In total, we found almost 350 dresses for under a fiver in various materials on these sites.
Responsible retailers are doing a fantastic job to give us both value on the high street, but also to look at the environmental and the ethical impact of the products that they're selling.
As scientists research whether there's an environmental price for cheap fashion, firms told us they acknowledge their responsibilities and that being affordable doesn't make clothes disposable. Chris Choi, ITV News.
And that's our show for this week. On behalf of the entire Weekend Business Report team, I'm Keneal. See you next time.
Hey, what up, you guys? It's your girl, Vivica Fox, and you are watching Business Access.
Hey guys, and thanks for joining me on another episode of Chill Spot. This week we'll be hanging out with Cherie Martin, Senior Vice President of Energy Delivery for JPS. First, I'll be joining Cherie at work to get an idea of what she does on a daily basis, and then we'll be heading over to Just Salads for lunch. So don't go anywhere, more Chill Spot after this. Hi Cherie.
Hi Candy.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again too.
So we're here at JPS.
We are.
And you are the Senior Vice President for Energy Delivery. Talk to us about your role and your day-to-day.
So I took this portfolio on effective May 1.
Okay, so just recently?
Just recently. It is the role that has oversight for our transmission and distribution network.
Okay.
So all the wires and the poles that we have to keep in a particular condition for our customers, I oversee. We have parish offices across Jamaica that provide service to our customers. I'm responsible for ensuring that that is also executed appropriately. And then we have an energy solutions business, which looks at alternative energy for customers,
Right.
energy management, things that help them to manage their energy more wisely. We have that group as well, and I also have HR as part of my portfolio. So on a day-to-day basis, it is really trying to ensure that we are maintaining and improving our grid, as we call it. The TND network is our grid. And looking at ways to ensure that our customers have solutions to meet their energy needs, and finding options for them to consider around energy management. And then on the HR side, it's about keeping our 1,700 people focused, engaged, taken care of.
1,700.
Yes. And that is the most heart-filled part of my job, to be honest, the HR portfolio.
Now, with the trend globally for everybody to reduce their carbon footprint, how has JPS integrated that into their business model?
We are in support of the national agenda for energy, which is really, if you think about it in 3 pillars: affordability, sustainability, and security. Underpinning all of that is a central theme for husbandry of the planet and how we manage our resources. So alternative energy sources, where we reduce the reliance on fossil fuel like oil, is a direction that we are going in. Cleaner, more efficient ways of generating power is also a direction. So if you think about what we've done in the last couple of months with the Bogue power plant, where we've converted it from oil to gas, that is a signal, a really big step for Jamaica to reduce its reliance on fossil fuels. But we're also expanding our renewable energy landscape in the country, and more customers are looking to that source for options. Because of a clean and green agenda, the environment is something that we would like to see more action and more lobbying taken for in Jamaica with our policymakers. But even until that happens, JPS is saying that we can do our part. So we have a big push internally. We have an initiative called the Clean and Green Initiative internally with our staff members, and even looking at projects outside to say how can we influence what's happening in terms of just a more stronger environmental stewardship. So we have our staff members through JPS Foundation, for instance, doing tree planting. We encourage conservation internally. There are just a host of things that we're doing at a local level, but we also believe that at a national level, changing out from fossil fuels, adding more diversity to our fuel mix by introducing renewables is something that the country deserves, and we're all behind that.
Okay, and what would you say is the biggest misconception about JPS?
I think now more than ever, persons have seen a shift towards a company that has put the customer at the heart of its business and that takes seriously its role as a key player in economic growth and development in Jamaica. I really feel people are witnessing that, and the misconceptions that they had before around us being, uncaring. Right. There are other words that have been used to describe the brand.
We don't need to mention
We don't need to mention those. And I would like to think that we're signaling, not just with our words, but with our actions, that we are taking seriously our role as the leading energy provider in Jamaica. So the misconceptions previously, I would like to think they're changing around, service, around responsiveness, around, solutions-oriented businesses. And I also believe that persons think JPS is in a monopolistic environment. And the truth is we have been facing generation competition for some time. People have other options to choose when they look at generating power. So monopoly is one word that people may use to describe us, but we're seeing with the advent of the energy changes in the last couple of years, a shift in options. We face competition,
right,
and that's not something I think people readily accept or acknowledge about us. And so we've had to respond in a way that says our market is changing and we therefore have to treat with our customers differently.
And remember conservation, yes.
Coming up,
I believe we all have both sides to us in terms of masculine energy, feminine energy. When the two come together, it's a beautiful harmony, it's a beautiful balance. And as individuals, we really should strive to nurture both.
Welcome to The Business Year. The Business Year is a global media group specializing in economic news and business intelligence. We bring our readers first-hand insights from over 35 countries. Each of our country-centered publications features over 150 face-to-face interviews with local leaders in business and policy. We are The Business Year.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 cross spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Now, before coming to JPS, of course, you were in banking at NCB. Yes. How did you transition into this industry? What was that like?
It was hard. I grew up in NCB, and as I spent a really fruitful 10 years working with Patrick Hilton, who is the group managing director there, and learning and being exposed and just having the opportunity to grow and flourish. I got a call from somebody who said Kelly Tomlin was looking for somebody to join her leadership team. And Kelly and I started talking. And yes, it was hard, but there are some similarities in terms of just how you develop teams, how you look at strategic issues, you know, how you look at allocating resources to make best decisions given the environment. So at a strategic level, there are a lot of similarities. The cultures are different, and I had to adjust to that. But JPS is a very nimble environment in terms of mindset. We do have legacy considerations around how people think, but I find for the most part, with exposure, with keen listening, with being more of a facilitator, encouraging collaboration, I've been able to get a lot done here.
Okay.
And I'm really enjoying it.
You guys have a lot of women leaders here at JPS. Would you say women make better leaders?
Well, here's a perspective on female leadership, if there's such a thing. I believe we all have both sides to us, male and female, in terms of masculine energy, feminine energy. And it's just what we harness at a particular point in time, what we promote as an individual. And the male energy tends to be, you know, far more hard, just focused, methodical.
Right.
And the feminine energy really focuses on just the sway and the flow of just, you know, uncertainty and nurturing and caring, and it's not as sequential or linear as the male energy. When the two come together, it's a beautiful harmony, it's a beautiful balance, and as individuals we really should strive to nurture both. But sometimes we get out of whack. So when I talk about female leadership or feminine energy, I'm not talking about women necessarily, which is, you know, probably the most tangible demonstration of that. But I'm talking about bringing your feminine side to leadership.
Absolutely.
And in our industry, it has not been readily practiced.
Right.
It hasn't,
Exactly.
that's the truth. But I think as we begin to change conversations and talk to our people with that sense of nurture, that sense of care, that emotional side, if you will, people are responding and responding positively. So being a woman in the industry, I have found that there's a lot of receptivity to our style, our brand. People are open to thinking differently about how we can do power. And I haven't experienced any roadblocks, I haven't experienced any pushback. I think Kelly Tomlin is a great example of a force, of a feminine energy that, you know, has transformed a company, and we are all benefiting from that as JPS employees, and we will continue to push that agenda around, you know, just the fact that leaders need to show up with both balance, male and female.
And what would you say drives you to succeed?
I think what drives me to succeed more than anything else is this sense of self that says I can do anything I want to do. That there's literally nothing that I can conceive of that I want to pursue, that I'm not entitled to, that I don't deserve, and that is not within my reach.
Well, that was all very interesting and a lot to take in. Even I feel very inspired just having this conversation. So I think the only thing left is for us to visit some of your coworkers.
Yes,
well,
that would be
let's
good.
go.
Okay. So Candy, I'd like you to meet some members of my team, guys. This is Candy King, and she's gonna sit in.
Yes, I'm gonna sit in
on our conversation.
Cherie.
Yes. So let's get started.
So team, what is it like to work with Cherie?
Cherie is
Passion.
energetic. She spoke about energy earlier. If you are not energetic, you're in trouble because she's on the go.
That's true.
She's a very good leader.
Yes.
Very, very serious about what she wants, when she wants it, and she usually gets it.
And one thing for sure, she wants root cause. So don't just come with numbers or anything like that. Cherie wants to know what's the real reason behind what she sees, whether it's good or bad. So that ensure that you're kept on your toes. The one thing I can tell you, she will tell you exactly how it is.
Yes.
And she just let you know that she still loves you after.
You know, go on. So she's an excellent communicator.
I was just about to say that.
Excellent communicator.
Cherie, are any of them troublemakers?
All of them. All of them. They chose this group very strategically. This is a team, though, that really, some of them are not here, but these guys represent some key functions of our making JPS deliver at a particular level to Jamaica and continue to improve. I push them, but they also respond very enthusiastically, and that helps.
I like the energy of the team. No pun intended.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, thank you. This is where you find her when she's scheming in our plot for world domination.
Hi.
Hi.
Candy.
Candy, I'm Kelly. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
So
Welcome.
this is the lady behind JPS.
This is the lady behind JPS.
I don't know if I'm the lady. I'm one of the ladies. We have some strong women at JPS.
That's good to hear. So what is Cherie like to work with?
You know, I recruited Cherie, right? I stalked her. She was at another company, so I really wanted her. I think we're a good complement. Cherie is very thoughtful, and sometimes I'm very impulsive, so we're really good. But I think we share the same spirit and the same vision for JPS. We really do have a grander vision for what JPS means for Jamaica and for perhaps the world at large. We always talk about doing power differently, and I think Cherie is a great example of what we say about being powerful with love and humility, tearing down hierarchy, and I think Cherie really does that. One of my favorite things about Cherie is that I think we spend a lot of time worrying what this one thinks of me and that one doesn't think of me, and Cherie is nothing like that. She's solid in her own source and her own self, so that makes me really like to be around her because there's no drama. But Cherie's the example of what I'm trying to create in my leadership team, this idea that you're fearless, but you bring big heart to everything you do, and that we always keep the overall impact and overall purpose, and we never ever forget that all work is done through people and through relationships with those people, and we're determined to make this a well place, and Cherie's been leading that, talking about, you know, holistic wellness, mind, body, and spirit, and people are very interested in what Cherie has to say. I love her example as a mother as well as a powerful woman in business.
Okay, wow. Well, I'm excited to hear more about your health and wellness. Absolutely. And we'll be heading to eat lunch at Just Salad soon, so
Wonderful.
I'll be hearing more about that.
Great day.
Thank you very much.
It's been very nice meeting you. Please enjoy your time here at JPS.
Thank you.
Thanks, boss.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Coming up, tell us about some of your other interests.
I'm very much interested in female empowerment. I do a lot in trying to understand how women can be stronger, have stronger voices, see themselves as, you know, just persons that can pursue anything that they want to pursue.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
It's when you came in here one day and you asked me about it.
How are you? Hi, Candy.
You must be Joan.
I'm Joan.
Hi, Joan. Nice to meet you, Candy.
Good to meet you.
So Joan, talk to us about Just Salads. How long has it been around?
Just Salads has been around from 2011,
right.
And we're at this location which has been a prime position for us. What we try to offer here is that little oasis right in the middle of Kingston.
Yes.
And it's been working.
And what about the concept of Just Salads?
It started with friends and myself thinking we need to have a healthy option to eat in.
Yes.
Not just eating, as Jamaicans say, big food every day.
Right. So
I thought, let's make salads. But salads wasn't so acceptable because the average Jamaican thinks it's just bush you're eating.
Yes.
So I figured, okay, let's tweak it a little bit and let's add some Jamaicanism to it.
Right.
So we added sweet potato, we have breadfruit salad, we have yam salad, we have dasheen salad, and we have pasta salads. So with all of that, with your bush, which is your lettuce, tomatoes, cucumber, carrots, string beans, and corn.
Right.
Then we add a little fruit to it to kick it up, and then we add our meat options. And you have about 6 options for chicken, mostly Oriental style, using all breast tenderloins. And then we have grilled fish, grilled salmon, grilled shrimp. Crab backs, which is a favorite.
Which is my popular
yeah,
one,
that's
yes,
a favorite
yes.
here. And we have vegetarian options also.
Right.
You can get quiche, you can get lasagnas. We have soups daily.
Yeah.
And we try and tweak things a little bit that everybody who comes here should. And we make sure you find something to eat on our menu daily.
And how would you say the business has evolved over the last 5 or 6 years?
We're pretty comfortable with the market that we're holding now. And what we like about it is, like, every day at least one new person will come in.
Right.
And when they come in, they're kind of amazed to know that they're expecting, when they say salad, I'm not really into salad, but when they get our salad,
right.
It's a huge
I had
difference.
that exact experience.
And it's a belly full.
Yeah. I
It's
had
a
that
belly full. Yes.
Yes.
So tell us why you love Just Salads.
I love Just Salads for all the reasons that Joan just mentioned. It's heavy enough to hold you, but not too heavy. I do a lot of business here. I bring people over to have just a business lunch. Knowing
and we
that
cater your lunches also, you know.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
You know, knowing that you have a healthy lunch, tasty, most importantly. The presentation is amazing.
Oh, yes.
A really great job here.
We appreciate
Joan.
that. We appreciate that.
I'm going to try out the shrimp. Do you have anything in mind?
I think the shrimp could work for me today as well. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't had it in a while.
Okay, that's good.
So
we're going to give you some sides for this.
Oh,
okay.
That's the sweet potato
That's
and
the
the.
sweet potato.
Woo!
And whatever vegetable option you wish.
No tomatoes for me.
No tomatoes. Cucumbers and lettuce.
Cucumbers and lettuce for me.
Okay, we'll give you all the.
She really sounds like a usual here, man.
She knows what she wants. She knows exactly what she wants.
All right, well, thank you very much, Joan, for talking with us.
All right, I'll get your plates out shortly.
Thank you. Is the fact that you're a regular here any indication of your lifestyle? Are you into health and wellness?
I absolutely am. I think everything about us starts with how we take care of our body, how we cultivate our minds, but it all comes from source of spirit. So it's a really, you know, triage of management, if you will. You know, just being conscious of your mind, your body, and your spirit constantly. Something I've been practicing for, I would say, probably the last 20 years.
Wow, okay.
Just building my awareness and consciousness of those 3 elements of who we are.
Right.
And so eating well
is a big part of that.
big part of that.
Okay, and would you consider yourself a foodie?
I have friends who are more foodie than I am, but I do like to try new things. The problem is, my husband will tell you, when I try something, I want to stay. I'm good with that, and I'll have that constantly.
Forever.
I'm not really like into
Trying new exotic dishes.
Me.
Okay.
But if I try it and I like it, I'm gonna want it more and more, and I'll keep ordering it, and I'll let's go to the same place all the time, which he gets a bit annoyed with sometimes. But you know, he manages me.
So tell us about your family and your girls.
So I have 2 girls, Melissa and Kelly. They're 19 and 15. Melissa is at college. She goes to Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. She's a sophomore.
Oh.
And Kelly is a 4th form at Campion. So I have 1 more of them to get out of the house.
And what about your husband?
Oh, I'm married to Wayne Anthony Martin for 23 years.
Wow.
He is a successful owner of a business. He runs Cheers Automotive and Repairs. So he's into cars. It's been a passion of his since he was yay high. Together we create quite a domitable force.
I like that.
Yeah, and we are enjoying seeing our girls grow and just getting into this new phase now with them and just seeing them flourish and become women. And it's been a great journey so far.
What about your childhood?
Okay, so I grew up with two brothers.
Two brothers.
I'm the middle child, so I was, you know, very fortunate to have brothers to protect me when I was growing up. I could do anything. Nothing was you know, not allowed for me because I had them with me all the time. With my parents, Methlin and Winston Anderson in Portmore. Very loving environment. We're not well off. We were never well off, but we never knew that. So a lot of love, a lot of support. My father stressed education, and so we did a lot in terms of making sure we did well in school. So my brothers, I have two brothers that are engineers, and of course I have now moved into energy.
Right.
I'm surrounded by engineers, so that's a big family joke. And I'm pretty supportive environment growing up, just being told I could do whatever I wanted to do.
What schools did you attend?
I went to the Convent of Mercy Academy, Alpha, but I went to St. Teresa's Prep before that, and then I went to University of West Indies.
But I think we've discussed everything but lunch.
But lunch.
So I'm ready to eat some food.
Yeah, looking forward.
How was your meal?
My belly full in a good way. Like I'm really happy.
Satisfied. Yes, that's exactly how I feel.
And that's what Joan does every time. Just Salads is the place. If you want to make sure you get a nice healthy meal, that's where you come.
Exactly. You don't feel over full. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's delicious. All right, so tell us about some of your other interests.
I'm very much interested in female empowerment. I do a lot in trying to understand how women can be stronger, have stronger voices, see themselves as, you know, just persons that can pursue anything that they want to pursue. And that's important because women aren't typically told that. You know, we're always told about limitations. So I'm very much interested in that. I do a lot of reading on mind, body, soul, how we think, how we represent ourselves in the world. So if you check my Kindle, it's a lot of books that, you know, really speak about, you know, the spiritual side of who we are. I'm into yoga. I absolutely have to do meditation. It has been a lifesaver for me for the last 10 years easily. It just allowing me to be very centered, feeling more confident, being able to process my thoughts and my emotions so I can show up how I want to show up. So those are my interests.
Well, Cherie, thank you so much for sharing or spending the day with us and sharing your chill spots with us. I enjoyed being at your office, getting to know your co-workers, and of course here at Just Salads, the food was just amazing.
Wasn't it?
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy you came, and I'm glad you enjoyed the experience. It was my pleasure.
Perfect, thank you. And that's it for this episode of Chill Spot, where we got to hang out with Cherie Martin, Senior Vice President of Energy Delivery for JPS. Today we got a chance to see how she does things at work, and of course we enjoyed our lunch here at Just Salads. So until next time, I'm Candy for Chill Spot. Bye. Senior Vice President of Energy. The word, I can't remember that word, delivery. We got a chance to see how things work at work for Cherie, and then we got to see how she's... Okay, ready. Tune in this Friday at 8 p.m. Blah, blah, blah. All right, let me work out what I'm saying in my head first.
performance art form with aesthetic and symbolic values. This week on Cameo, we will speak to Jamaican dancers about creativity, challenges, and monetization. Everybody dance! Christina Gonzalez is a Jamaican dancer, choreographer, and dance teacher. The Edna Manley graduate has danced professionally for several years.
I've worked on the Happy Comeback video, actually choreographed that for Shereen Anderson. It's such a wonderful experience working with her, a strong woman, especially in the music industry. Nick Cannon came to Jamaica. He did the King of the Dancehall movie, which hasn't been released yet, but I'm actually one of the featured dancers in Krisha Turner's, literally the ladies crew. So you have ladies against the dirty girls, and I'm actually part of the ladies crew. So that's set to be released sometime soon. I'm really not sure when. And I've also worked as a dancer with Beres Hammond when he did his Moment in Time concert. I was about 4 or 5 years ago while I was at Edna Manley College. I worked with Neela Banks. She was the choreographer, and myself and colleagues were dancers on that show. I also worked with D'Angel. I used to travel with her quite a bit as her dancer, and I choreographed quite a bit of her shows. So my first Sumfest show that I choreographed was actually with D'Angel. Recently I did a Suppligen ad, which actually won a gold award in the regional Caribbean category. It was directed by Adrian Lopez of Liquid Light, and that commercial actually won a gold award. And I'm just so happy because my choreography was featured in that. I won't give up, no, I never stop, boost me up. My opinion, anybody who is working for pay or some financial compensation, that's a professional, right? You can also have professional in terms of, okay, you work with a certain work etiquette and your discipline that includes things like time management and so on. So you have many different types of professional dancers in Jamaica. You have dancers who have graduated, for example, from a prestigious institution like Edna Manley College or Exed Community College where they do performing arts as well. And the difference, let me get around to it, of a dancer now, I guess you'd say somebody who just goes to a party, just want to have fun, and they're probably just dancing or so on, they're not being paid. They probably have volunteer with the NDTC, somebody who volunteers as just a dancer, versus a professional would be someone like myself who actually goes out and gets compensated financially for it. Well, definitely anything I feel that you have to form that becomes new and valuable, that thing is creative. Dance is definitely a creative process in that you're creating something new or you're forming something new that is valuable to persons. It might be valuable financially, it might be valuable, emotionally, where it can help persons. It evokes emotions with the audience. And I always tell my dancers, try to allow the audience to understand or relate to you, let them connect with you. So if there's, for example, the piece that we're doing earlier, the What is Love? I try to express the drama. Try to bring people into you, let them understand the story. Because at the end of the day, it's not just fancy movements, technique, and so on. At the end of the day, you need to be able to relate to an ordinary set of people that don't understand the technique or so on. You know what I mean? So, yeah, dance is definitely creative. There are so many challenges. But I think the ones that really affect me the most, first one has to be the fact that many dancers, especially those who are professional, they don't understand their own self-worth. And because they don't understand their own self-worth, it, in a way, devalues me as a dancer. Because what you find is that in not knowing the self-worth, they don't understand how to properly price themselves. And then this, I feel, comes from the root, which is the persons who teach dancers, they don't necessarily divulge on how it is that you price your craft according to industry. So what you find is that many dancers, they underprice themselves, they work overtime without even asking for compensation for the overtime work. Some will even try to overprice themselves, they price themselves out of the industry. But I feel the grassroots to this is that lecturers, I feel, and many professional persons as well, they just don't teach persons. I think it's a problem with artists on a whole. I don't know what it is, the creative process or what, but they're afraid to price their work. They're afraid to talk about money. Education is key. Because you can't have persons just dancing and you say, okay, you're creative. You could be the most talented person on earth. You're not going to survive unless you have money to pay for your bills, to pay for your food, to survive to see the next day. And these are some things you need to talk about it. You know what I mean? Just like a banker, just like a lawyer, everybody needs to make their money. I mean, you need it to survive, so why not talk about it? I can probably count on probably one hand amount of times the issue of money came up in my classes at Endemani College. They don't flesh out, artists on a whole don't flesh out. How do you price this? You price by your hours? Do you price based on your qualifications? If you have a diploma degree, based on your experience, what is it? So really education is definitely key. In terms of time management, it just, people just need to fix their watches. I feel just a lot more interaction on the international scene. A lot of that has been actually happening already. A lot more interaction, not only in one realm, which is, right now it's very popular, thankfully. There's a lot of highlight on dancehall right now, which is good. But a lot more highlight or a lot more interaction on persons in different fields, like the contemporary, African folk. How can we relate or connect with persons on a global scale? You know what I mean? So probably put on productions where persons from the region are invited to perform or to express their particular genres of dance. More Jamaicans need to stop fighting each other, stop fighting on one another, and be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to use this bogle or whatever the dances that and I'm going to go over there and I'm going to monetize it just like how this Russian person, just like how this Japanese person has come to Jamaica and is doing that. I'm going to do the same thing. Future plans would definitely have to include establishing some foundation where dancers or dancing can be realized or recognized as something that is lucrative, something that can inspire, something that can motivate persons. And that would have to be perhaps a dance empire that invites persons from around the world to come and experience Jamaican culture. Not only that, but also to provide some form of cultural exchange. So my future plans definitely includes establishing that sort of dance empire, that sort of foundation, something far-reaching, you know what I mean, right here in Jamaica.
Me say you must come back. I fi come back. Me say you must come back. Anytime him left us, so we must come back. I fi come back. Me say you must come back. Action, me I say over chat.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
CEO and dancer of Dance Jamaica, Latonya Dillon, has been dancing for over 15 years.
Dance is art. Dance is talent given to you by God. You know, you're either born with it or people can learn, but for me, it's really a creative activity because you have to use your imagination to come up with moves, to come up with choreographies, to come up with just your whole attitude, your whole style, what makes you stand out from somebody else. And creativity is definitely the main thing in that sense. And in Jamaica, you know that we're pioneers, we're known worldwide for creating these exciting steps that we give creative names as well. And you know, the whole process is about being original, unique, creative, and stand out above the many genres that are already out there. You know?
Good? Killer, he's not a dancer, but he has a dance too. You know, he has. Rambo Canambo, copy the cash, padu tango.
Dance Jamaica is a talent and entertainment organization which portrays the culture of Jamaica and its vibrant people. Dance JA started out as a website with information about local dancers as well as international dancers who endorse, promote, who live the lifestyle of dancehall, which is Jamaica's core, original, created dance genre. And Dance Day is just about promoting the dancers. We have a profile of each dancer, plus video clips of every dancer. We have a library of moves created by Jamaicans from A to Z. And it's also just showcasing music videos, events, anything to do with dancing and dancehall. The creative process is different for everyone because you have some dancers who just probably go out, party. Like for me, I make up most of my steps in the parties. Some music playing and you just dancing and then you're like, wow, that looks good to this song. And you keep doing it over and over until it becomes an actual move. You ask a friend to do it and when they do it, you see it's better, you know? But some people, even sometimes for me, I'm in the bathroom taking a shower and just come up with an idea. So the process is, it can be anywhere. I even sleep and create ideas. Wake up and just have, like I had a dream and it came up. A step comes to my head. And a lot of it probably is hereditary for some dancers because it's just in our blood and things, people are always saying like, yo, this person did that dance already, but it's just natural and it probably ties back to an African step. For example, Ice, he created the Gully Creeper. A lot of people will debate that it looks like Yanvolu, which is a Haitian dance. I'm sure Ice never went to Haiti or he doesn't know about that, but because of his African descent and background, he's forced to do something like that. You know, because of the music, what the music is, the beat, the rhythm, stuff like that. But everybody's creative process is different. Yeah.
Love me now, love me. One beat, right here. Cause every time the music plays,
you can trademark your step, your name. Actually, trademarking a step is also a big issue right now because everybody is wondering how it's going to be done. And from what we understand, you only can trademark or copyright a choreography, which is the set of moves put together after you codify it, and it's a whole long procedure. So for me, I use written material. It might be an informal way, but the book itself is copywritten, and I put my names of steps as well as illustrations of these steps. So this is a form of codifying it as well, and that's my way of saying, hey, this step I own it. You know, this is how it's done, step by step, and then I put the name of the step, so it's a form of codifying or owning it. Also, when we do shows, music videos, stuff like that, we are getting paid for our talent, our work. It's our job. There's a big lack of professionalism because of lack of education. So for me, that has a degree in business, I am able to price myself better. I'm able to create a business opportunity for this profession, this passion that we all have. A lot of the dancers are out there, people come from overseas and they're like, oh, I like how you dance, and they're just there teaching them for free, and that same person goes back to make money. As I say, it's lack of education because a lot of them don't know about just business on a whole, and business is very important. You have to know how to market yourself. You have to know how to just basically anything to do with professionalism, how to talk to people, how to communicate with people. A lot of them don't know how to do that. So for example, my first big thing, which was going to Russia for the True Jamaican camp, the person that wanted to do it reached out to me on Facebook, and she reached out to like 10 dancers and nobody replied. So I was the only one who communicated, and she wanted to come to Jamaica. And I'm like, hey, how about taking us to Russia? So, you know, I initiated something by just a conversation, and you have to know how to talk to people, and this same conversation helps with teaching. So you have great dancers, but they're unable to teach. They can't communicate with the students. They don't know how to explain, you know, to count. They don't know how to say 5, 6, 7, 8, arms up, arms down. They just dance because they're just passionate about dancing, but vocally, verbally, they're not able to express themselves and explain to these students. And a lot of the students want to be taught in a way that they can understand verbally, you know? But if we could come together, decide on a price range where we can say, okay, this is the cost for something, then everybody will be on the same page. We'll know what is the rate for this certain task or whatever. That will help to cover the monetary issues in terms of how much to charge people for stuff. Another thing is our own country, government-wise, accepting that we are a genre and that it's huge worldwide, and they probably could help us a little more with certain stuff. For example, visas. It's very difficult for us to get certain visas. A lot of dancers, like we need work permits for the USA. The work permits are not cheap, and the money that dancers make, they can't cover a work permit. For Dance Jamaica, we're actually, as you know, it's a dance studio, but we are turning the place into a cultural center. So it's actually now Dance Jamaica Cultural Center. So we're trying to promote not just dancing, we're promoting every aspect of Jamaican culture. So we're talking about games. We have Games Jam, which is just inviting everybody to come and play all the local games from then till now. So we have Dandy Shandy, we have Chinese Skip, we play marbles, and it's a cultural activity for group trips that come from Europe and Asia and all around the world. So we play games, we teach them how to use the bingy, we fly kites, stuff like that. So we're bringing them into the real job. Also, we plan to take classes into communities. We want to go into different inner city communities and offer a dance class. Hopefully we'll get sponsorships from some of these Europeans and dancers who come here. They always want to give back. So this is a way for them to give back. We try to go to inner cities and teach dance for free for the kids, but we'll try to get the money, get payment for it otherwise. So that's one of our big plans for the future.
Let's go, cause every time the music play, I wanna dance. Let's go, every time the music play,
serious about the business of real estate. So catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
It's season 12 and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On point. Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Orette Beckford is a dancer and dance instructor at Ardennes High School.
The creative process is your own personal take on dance, in which everybody has a standard where you learn how to teach or you learn how to dance, but then when it is time for you to be creative, it is your own personal take on it. Because then again, everybody can choreograph, everybody can teach, but then again, what makes it unique is when you put your personal spin on it, your personal move. Dance in itself, you know, is all creative because of the moves, the types of how you move, the how you express yourself. Because dance is a form of expression, and that's how you would deem it as creative because of how you use it, in which form, you know, because there are different genres of dance, and every genre makes it different. So it being creative is more of what you choose to do or how you choose to portray it, you know, through your personal experience, because everything as an art is more personal, from a personal perspective than anything else. I think to me that would make it creative. In terms of, you know, advertisement or funding, you know, if we go out and people are interested in seeing creativity or seeing dance being put to the front, and that's what I think we need, the support and the push from wider society, because people still don't think of dance as that, like the regular general people. Like, if you want to pursue a career in dance, they'll be like, no, why you want to like go and be anything else, a lawyer, a doctor, but what about, but they're not as interested as to push their child or whosoever into dance because there's not much money into it. So I would think that there need to be more support in terms of being educated, in terms of to know what or how you can make money from it and how you go about trying to earn a living from it. And up, flat back over, 1, 2, 3, 4, come up. Nobody believes or trust or thinks that dance is that strong enough to put you out there as a to make a living off. So the challenges will be that no one wants to fund you, you understand, unless you're serious or you are well established. So for a young person coming up now, you would have to really put yourself out there, and if you don't have means in terms of people that's backing you, you don't know how, you wouldn't have the greatest chance to be helped or to be, you know, to get funds from them to say, oh, let's put more money into this production, and so because they're not known. So the challenges would be mostly support or the monetary fund. That's it, the monetary, because without money, you know, we can't do anything. PK and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. Point. Over the years that I've realized is mostly the interest and the lack of money. Because then again, if people are more interested, you know, they'll push it out. Because there are dancers there that have not, that has given their talent for dance and for a company, for instance. And after that, they're done and nobody remembers them or nothing is there because nobody sees it as being serious. You come to the show, you watch, or you come to, you know, wherever to watch them perform, and that's about it. Nobody does, you know, nobody cares no more to see what is going to happen because, as I said before, they think that it's just for, you know, just to jump up or to exercise, when it is more than that. There are dancers I know that are, well, because if it is that you can't get money in Kingston, I know I have friends that are in the hotel industry where getting lots of money from performing and being coordinators every night in a hotel. So it is very lucrative. But in Kingston here, it's not as, because there's not much funding, there's not much interest, there's not much push to say, you know, let us invest in dance, let's invest in this company or invest in these dancers that are very good, and then because nobody really sees it as anything much. What I would say is that never give up, especially if it is very hard, especially if it is something that you love. I've seen a lot of people, they're giving up on dreams that they think, you know, it was so hard. Or I've seen a lot of friends that I've started out with and they're not dancing anymore, and they're the ones that I looked up to in terms of dance, and now I am way past them. And so what I would say is that never give up, especially if you love it, if you think that it's something that you feel that you can do well in and excel in. You know, you must always try and push yourself and always think of life as the bigger picture of where you would see yourself in a year from now or 2 years from now. Because funnily, I didn't even think that I would have been here now. All I know that my dream was to be a dancer. When I was young, I just wanted to be a dancer. And now I'm a dancer now, and it has moved further to being a director of my own company, teaching over the years, you know. So never give up on your dream. Try, even if you think that it is hard, everything, there's no way, try again.
And that's it this week for Cameo. Even in the midst of our challenges, our creative industries continue to shine. I've been your host, Amita Prasad Webb.